Welcome back, everybody. I've been on a little hiatus. I've been shilling Hex far and wide to different countries, but I'm back here with you and a special guest, Hexistany Dylan. Good to meet you, man. And I want to say kind of who you are to the people out there.
I'm a day one Hex OG, you know, admin for most of the telegrams and everything, you know, in the trenches every day. And then I'm helping out the Fiat guys, part of their team and everything. So,
Yeah, sweet, man. Yeah, I see you in every Telegram chat I can think of. I mean, there's too many of them these days, man. It's
shit.
overwhelming. I can't keep up. And
Yeah,
people are
man.
always asking me, like, what about this coin? What about that coin? Like, there are only 24 hours in a day. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
Fiat does pique my interest because it's something that Richard Hart wanted to do a long time ago. He was like, we need leverage trading for Hex so that we can wreck all the shorters, right, and pump it to the moon.
exactly.
But like he just hasn't had time to do it. And so there's a team out there that's apparently doing it. Um, Fiat.io.
Yep. You can
So
you can now short Hex on testnet.
really,
Completely
it's
possible.
already working
Yeah,
on
yeah,
testnet.
yeah.
I,
You
I
can.
saw the demo, but I thought that was like a click. I thought that was like a prototype, like not actually live.
No, yeah, you can go and borrow whatever you can if you want.
Wow. All right. Well, that's cool. We're gonna talk about.
Yeah,
We're gonna definitely talk about that. That's. I love when a team actually has a somewhat of a product and code to show for themselves because
exactly.
you know, the more Liquid Loans hasn't been able to show anything so far, and I don't want to bash them or anything, but it makes me like I don't want to talk about them until they actually show and produce something. I mean, I knew I definitely sacrificed for that platform as well, but this is not only leverage with PulseChain, but it's leverage with Hacks, US Dollar Coin, and a couple other meme coins out there. But yeah, let's say what's up to everybody in the chat. Thomas Wilson, Vija, George Eastham, what's up? Hey, Trevor Hansen, I made you a mod, bro. So just keep things classy in the chat. Paul Charles Stark, Hexkin Tattooer. Hey, I'm going to come to you when Hex hits $1. I'm going to get my Hex tattoo.
There
Red
you go.
Squirrel, PulseChain Hex Game, Spike. Hello, sir. What else? Jim Rat. I hate taxes. Me too, me too, man. Bit Finesse in the house. One of my favorite dudes here. Author, I've become offended at how many killer DeFi goodies are being built. I haven't found an offensive thing in months now. Yeah, yeah. There's so many projects being made, so many emotions, so much confusion. I get hit up every day about what do you think about this one? What do you think about that one? And I was just saying to behind the scenes, like I don't have there's only 24 hours in a day, and I literally am just one guy. So I'll tell you what I've been researching a little bit lately. Um, and I'll tell you, that's all I'm able to tell you. At the end of the day, you'll have to go read the websites for yourself, guys, and you'll have to, actually use some critical thinking. Figure out,
Yeah.
hey, do these have admin keys? And if so, is it a known team where the admin keys do? Why are they taking money? Do they have a working product at all? Um, so speaking of meme coins, generic meme coins that don't do anything, Pulse Doge, easy $3,000, depending on if how much of a whale or a dolphin or a shrimp or whatever you are. Crabs and turtles and shrimp, I think, get the most.
I think this. Yeah, I think this. The squids. I think they get the most.
Squids, yeah, crabs, turtles, and squids kind of get more coins than whales and dolphins and shrimp, which is cool. So they're trying to incentivize the average hex staker in the ecosystem. And there's some cool stuff. And hold on a second. What's up, Marty? How you doing, man? Just had to say hi. Yeah, so there's some pros and cons with these generic meme coins, right? The pros are it's free money. Okay. Now with
Yeah.
PulseDogecoin.com in particular, it seems safe to claim. I waited a week just in case any shit went down, in case anybody got hacked. And I've heard from certain reliable sources that I trust, maybe namely Dev Kyle and David Feeder, who are more technical minded, that they didn't see anything glaringly obvious in the code that it was going to take all your money or anything. And if you're still worried about it, what you can always do after connecting your MetaMask to the website is you can you can disconnect when you're done. And you can always go to the Etherscan allowance checker to see if the smart contract actually asks for any allowances. So I went ahead and did that and didn't see any allowances, anything crazy or any red flags. And if you go to the website, it doesn't seem to be lying about itself. It's like, yeah, we're free we're free money. We're a generic meme coin. Now, what I don't like is there's an anonymous founder. The premise is kind of stupid. It's basically, hey, the opposite of unit bias is going to work. And oh, what's up, Crypto Kings? Good to see you too, bro. Yeah, so basically they're saying, hey, unit bias is great, but what if we made like only 1 million coins and then tricked everybody into thinking that those were worth a lot because there's few of them? Hey, man, I mean, if you want to hold your Pulse Doge and you think these copies of dog coins are the future, then you go ahead and do that. But I could tell you what I did is traded mine for a little bit for US dollar coin and a little bit for Hex, and you might want to consider trading it for Hex if you think that Hex is going to pump on the run up leading into PulseChain launch, and if not, cash out in US dollars, right?
Yeah, I remember the Uniswap airdrop way back when in 2020, and that's it's a pretty penny now if you traded it for Hex, and then same with the 1 inch drop as well. So
yeah, that's true, man.
I think didn't it hit if you traded your Uniswap token? I think it was back in 2020. Wasn't it like April or June or something? And then it actually hit like $1 million. I think a couple months ago or something, or when it was near the all-time high or something.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. Yeah, so everybody, like, I remember at one point when I sold him, my uni free airdrop tokens were worth about $4,000, and if I would have held them for 2 years, they would have been worth about 10 times that. But I mean, no regrets. Hex did better. Then uni went back down, right? Uni went back down.
True.
So there's and uni also had more of a narrative push because it's actually a platform that everybody uses. You got to consider the staying power of some of these things, like Pulse Dogecoin. Are there going to be any community? Are there going to be any influencers, any community kind of bragging about Pulse Dogecoin online? And on top of that, it's there's already a Pulse Doge that's been out for a while, so I'm sure all those guys are kind of pissed.
That's true.
So it's like you could have picked a different dog, man. But
that's very true.
But yeah, it doesn't seem to be a scam. It seems to be very transparent. If you read the white paper, it's just basically sometimes people don't understand all this complex shit and they just want a picture of dog, dog coin good. And that's just that's simple enough for them. So there's some people in crypto can be simple, but hey, it's trading at $3.5 today. So go ahead and claim if you want. Yeah, go ahead and claim if you want it, right? And if you get hacked, that's on you, right? If this whole thing ends up being a huge scam that takes everybody's Hex, just know that I lost my Hex too because I claimed my Pulse Doge. So
yeah,
it was safe enough for me.
I bought a little bit too, I mean, hey.
Did you?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Back in when it was like around $1.50 or something like that.
There you go. So I mean, that was a good time. You doubled up. You over doubled already. Hey, what more is there to it, right? It's not that hard. You guys don't need me to make a tutorial video. As long as you can click on some buttons, like, I think you guys should be okay. Like, go to pulsedogecoin.app and just connect your MetaMask. And it's only for Hex stakers, right? So it's only if you were a Hex staker. If you weren't a Hex staker before the release date went live on 4/20. So if you weren't staking before April 20th, sorry, you're out of luck, right? But hey, you can go buy it on the open market if you think that dog coins are the future, and if you'd rather have that than something like Hex or whatever. But to each their own, right?
Exactly.
But you gotta love free money. And then there's this other coin known as colloquially as P, and pulse33.com. I just want to pull this up because it's made by I think Victor, which is an actually respected developer in the community. And I was surprised he made a meme coin, but I just wanted to show everybody what exactly it is because it's kind of funny, but it's almost making fun of the whole meme coin insanity. And it is pretty insane. So hold on. Let's see. So if you'll shift your focus to the screen right here. Some of the features are 100% decentralized, community-driven, and transparent. ERC20 standard, vanity contract address starting with 0x42069, which is immediately identifiable across chains. Finished product, no sacrifice phase, sufficient liquidity for trading, low enough liquidity for massive price adoption. And when they say that, it's really, really low liquidity, guys. Like you can't even buy $1,000 of it without like pumping the price up 10%. Like it's really, really, really bad. But I think people are looking at this or something, and then it's deflationary, so no inflation, no minting. They encourage people to burn the token, and in return, I guess you can be part of the burning club or something. No admin keys, and awesome website with great SEO. But what's the meme? You do not talk about the Fire Club. You do not talk about the Fire Club. This is apparently the club that you get to join if you burn 420 P tokens. It's a store of meme, no utility at all. Chart looks bullish. Owner seems to have street cred. Pour some gasoline on your bag and light it up. Even if it's hard, hold your P. Price go up. Pension at 33, and no dogs or apes. So, wow, what a pitch.
Yeah. Nice.
Any thoughts on this?
I mean, it's one of those things, those meme coins, I guess. This is the first time I've ever heard about it. I know Victor is, he's a good guy, right? But hey, to each his own with the memes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's got a whopping $20,000 of daily volume. I feel so stupid even talking about this, but it's on Binance Smart Chain right now, which I guess is it's kind of a point of friction. And if you can figure out Binance Smart Chain, be my guest and buy it, then they're gonna airdrop it to everyone on PulseChain. He's got a quote at the bottom too. It's meme coins pump hard as fuck. Richard Hart. So they've got a famous Richard Hart quote. And what more could you want, guys? There you have it. I was gonna have Victor on my show, so I'll wait for him to explain more about it. But I thought that was funny, and I just wanted to let all you guys know that that's out there. Hexologists, yeah, my P burns too, Hexo, but you might want to get that checked out. So those are two meme coins, and they're out there. I cleaned my Pulse Doge. I dumped it, made a quick buck. I love when free money falls from the sky, and I think that's going to keep happening a little bit more throughout the years, especially the Hex holders and PulseChain OGs and stuff like that.
I agree.
So, one reason that I like this next project, we're going to talk about fiat.io. That's PHIAT.io. One reason I like it is that it seemed to have been created with the sole intention of pumping the price of Hex, right? So everybody that created this project is as a Hex OG or a large Hex holder, and it's basically a leveraged trading platform for Hex. You can borrow, lend, borrow, and basically play with money you don't have, which is an insanely risky game that I don't recommend anybody ever do. But if you want to degen, this is going to be your way to do it. And someone was going to build this sooner or later. So at least this is one that's being designed only to pump Hex coins, right? Richard Hart ecosystem coins, I should say. You want to give a little brief about that?
Yeah, so that is one of the things that you can do with fiat, right? You can take and you can max out your collateral and short or long, whatever you want, right? But this is for, you really don't want to get liquidated here, because the collateral level, like for instance, if you were to deposit Hex, right, on testnet, you'd get maybe a 60% LTV. If you click demo right up on the top right, you can see the stuff as well, and that's the demo that's live on the testnet.
Okay, so this is a proof of concept where apparently you can
And if
go
you
ahead
need
and
coins, I can send you some. If you make a fresh wallet, I'll send you some fiat so you can mess with it and stuff.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm probably not going to do a live demo here, but I did check out the demo earlier, and if anybody wants to go check out fiat.io, you're more than welcome to. Um, I'm probably not going to get involved in the sacrifice phase personally, but I might. I'm happy it's being built, and so I'm not trying to sell this to anybody, but
Yeah.
just wanted to let you guys know that basically you can take out loans and borrow Hex, and then you can also be a lender. So if you're lending Hex, you can make some pretty good interest rates, and if you're borrowing Hex, you have to pay some pretty astronomically high interest rates. Doesn't seem like a great idea to be a borrower to me, but the platform seems to work, and
Yeah. So it's a supply and demand based APY. So for instance, if if there's only a say 1% of the pool being borrowed or whatever, the APY would be very low, very minuscule. Whereas if say all the coins in the pool are being loaned out, like for example, USDC is completely loaned out, I think, except for $5 million. The APY for just having your USDC there for a depositor is like in the 60% range, right? Whereas usually when it's 5% of the pool being used, it's like 0.5% just for depositing, right? But the main premise of why fiat is important for the ecosystem, there is, for instance, there's a guy in Hex right now. He has 93 million liquid Hex, and he's been dumping very slowly for a couple of months now, right? He does 500K Hex here, 300K Hex there, every other day. He keeps dumping, right? And he's pulled a couple million out already. Well, if he needs cash flow, he can deposit his Hex on this platform, right? He can take a collateral of maybe 10% of his Hex, right? Go off in the real world, pay for what he has to pay for, make the money back, and rebuy his Hex, or rebuy the collateral, pay off the loan for a small interest rate, and he's fine, right? Because sometimes people need cash flow, and right now that doesn't exist for any of the RH coins or specifically Hex, right? So this is that's the main reason, or that's the main use case for this stuff. Now you theoretically could double down on a long, say he really likes Hex, this big guy, right? And he maxes out his LTV. He goes and borrows USDC and he buys more Hex, right? Then you have a leverage long. Right. You can do where you want to short something, which I don't recommend all this stuff, because this it's not really used for this. It's just used for cash flow. That's its main purpose. But
yeah, this is how rich people actually get cash flow, guys. They don't actually sell their underlying asset, like income producing assets. So this $92 million dickhead that keeps selling the price down. Hey, now you can actually. I'm sorry if you're watching, by the way.
Hey, exactly.
But
he's got to do it.
Or if
it's
it's
the only option he has right now.
I know, and everyone's all mad at him and stuff. But yeah, it really is the only option he has, and like, what more can you say? I mean, we can't do anything about that. But just like liquid loans, guys, theoretically, how liquid loans is a way to never have to sell your pulse chain. Fiat is a way to never have to sell your Hex or your Hedron or your pulse chain or anything in the pulsex Richard Heart ecosystem.
Yeah.
So when you take out a loan on your asset, you can liquidate that, and as long as you're highly collateralized and the price of your asset doesn't fall below your collateralization level, you'll be fine. And you can deploy that capital elsewhere for different things, and in the form of stable coins, right?
You can borrow through, or you can borrow which that's on the platform. So you had USDC only. That's the asset that you had, and you wanted to borrow some Hex. You could deposit USDC and you could borrow Hex, or you could borrow Pulse or pulsex, and you can do whatever it is you want to do with those coins, right? Now, if you don't pay back the loan, in your collateral level, you know, or in your collateral is worth less than your loan at a certain threshold, then you'll lose your collateral. You know, you'll get liquidated essentially. So, but you know, there's many ways to use this stuff, and it's great. I mean, you know, I use it on testnet all the time just to screw around. So, yeah.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, so it's been working so far, so good. I think it's without saying it, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they on their website it's a fork of Aave. Aave is a protocol on Ethereum that has been running well and probably one of the most successful DeFi protocols on Ethereum. So again, this goes in the line of thinking where let's take everything that was good on Ethereum, the few things that were good, and let's copy them over where they're needed on PulseChain to create a fully coherent, full ecosystem. So you've got borrowing, lending, and then that essentially allows you to do what would be known as like a short or a long position. And it really primarily uses Richard Heart ecosystem coins. Now let's go over some FAQs that before the chat is about to ask, I'm sure. Who are they? I don't know if they've fully come out yet, but basically they're some sharks and squids and turtles from Hex that are committed to making the Richard Heart ecosystem better, to pump our bags and yours. And I don't know if you could talk any more about who the team is other than potentially yourself.
I can say that Buck is doxed to me, right? He's the liaison, as he self-proclaimed. They are professionals. They work at a hedge fund. That's, you know, if you want to find out more, you can join the chat and ask Buck yourself. We do have AMAs in the chat every once in a while. And, you know, there's one dev in the chat right now, and then there's another that is in the chat, but we don't know the name. So, but there's two devs, Buck, and I'm helping them out. So
nice, man. Well, they're basically raising money in a sacrifice phase. And before everyone gets triggered and says, oh my God, another sacrifice, I hate it. Let me just say what I like about the sacrifice. It's actually capped at 2.5 million. So they're not taking more than they should be. And they're actually penalizing whales so that one, you know, with God Whale, for example, can't just come in there and buy up like all the tokens. So they're only kind of taking what they need for what sounds like costs and coin distribution and liquidity providing. And before you say, oh, are they going to dump Hex if I sell it? They're unofficially promising not to dump Hex. So it's a promise. Do with that what you will. And I know basically, you know, we can't ever rely on promises or any expectations of profit from the work of others. But if you choose to believe that they are the Hex holders they say they are, then you could have some level of confidence that any Hex that is sacrificed will be held as long as it's able to be held. You know, assuming enough US dollar coin and other coins get sacrificed instead. And that's all we have at the end of the day, guys. It's in the real world. You have to trust that people are going to do what they say to some degree. So that's how it's structured, which I like more than some of the other ones that I've seen.
Just a quick note on the sacrifice. It's open until a hard cap of 4 million, right? The goal was 2.5 million. There were some people in the community that didn't think that we would reach 2.5 million, but we reached it in less than 12 hours. So we're leaving it open just a little bit longer to allow latecomers to, you know, feed in. But after, as soon as it hits 4 million or Richard announces V3, it's being removed from the website. So
shit.
But
I got to tell you, I'm really tempted to click that button and to enter. I just I'm spread between more products or projects than like I'm already comfortable with.
Hey, no worries,
and,
man. We reached our goal.
Hey, I know. I'm talking about my personal feelings. I like how it's structured, and I like what I read on the site, and I like that I know who you are, and I know Buck Futt from the chats.
Yeah.
And you guys seem like you're having fun with it, right? Like you're not taking yourselves too seriously, and you're being very transparent in a way that's almost kind of funny. Like what else do you have on the like you said that you named it Fiat because you're fans of fish. but you can also use the P and the H to stand for pulse and hex. It's like you're one of the FAQ questions was like, are you gonna dump shit coins like Wise? And you're like, the answer was like, absolutely, we will.
Yeah,
like
that's funny. Actually, we did. There was an exception for Wise in the sack phase, but nobody sent us Wise. So
maybe nobody has any left.
we figured at least Moritz, the largest Wise holder, would send us some some sacks, but he didn't. So hey,
Moritz, man, hey, that guy's a genius too. So I'm surprised. Yeah.
yes, he's.
Let's see. FAQ question, for example, will you hex flex with the sacrifice money? Answer, we are happily married finance guys with positive cash flows from our day jobs. The way we flex is by growing our bags in USD terms. We don't care about Louis Vuitton, Rolexes, or Lambos. We care about helping the hex price go up. We love the idea of building something useful, and that is all the bragging rights we need. So yeah, I love that answer. And there's plenty like that. I am a Hex Whale OG, and I dump constantly on Hexicans, and I feel terrible about it. Should I sacrifice Hex? First of all, yes, you should feel bad. Second of all, yes, you should consider sacrificing your Hex for fiat. At least it will likely end up in our safe-ass hands, providing a service to your fellow Hexicans. I feel like just that. I wish I could know who these people are because they all seem pretty chill. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it was made with any bad intentions. And if you're going to fork Aave, it's like, why not pick the most popular, best protocol to fork? Exactly. The code's all public. It works today.
Yeah,
man, I might be FOMOing myself on stream a little bit here.
Hey, the Aave code's been in existence since 2017, and it's got $17 billion of assets currently. Yes.
I understand. So, it actually pumped the second hardest after Hex.
Really?
Out of any coin. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, if you consider what it was before it was rebranded, if you consider that whole run up, I mean, it was actually one of the highest appreciating assets. But and that's because people need lending protocols. So basically, in 4 words, it does borrowing, lending, leverage trading, and then what am I missing?
Leverage trading, and then hedging.
Now, what do you mean hedging?
So, say you wanted to reduce your exposure to a certain coin, or to increase your exposure to a different coin. Say let's just use Hex as example, because everybody has Hex that should be in the RH ecosystem, right? So you could post your Hex as collateral, and say you wanted exposure to Pulse, but you didn't want to sell your Hex for it. Well, you post it as collateral, you borrow Pulse, right? And essentially you're getting exposure from, with Pulse. So if it goes up in price, you could, sell it for USDC, you could buy back Hex, whatever you wanted to do. Right.
Oh, this is great. So that's great for the trifecta of the PulseX, PulseChain, Hex trifecta, right? Like you don't have to pick which one's gonna win. You can take out you can collateral some of your Hex in each different one, and like as they all kind of pump together, they add more collateral to each of your different loans essentially. I mean, I don't know if that could be a strategy or not. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things you can do. There's many doors that this opens up, right? And without it, it's still a very immature market. But with it, there's the ability to help reduce volatility, and keep the markets semi-stable, I guess, if it's big enough, right? I mean, if this protocol has maybe $100 million in assets, it's not really going to stabilize anything. But I mean, if we're in the billions, it'll probably be used by the whales, right, to be able to short the top, long the bottom, et cetera, et cetera. So should reduce that volatility, just maybe by a smidge, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, something to keep an eye on for myself personally. I mean, I'd be interested in actually using this platform, given that it's, a copy of something successful, that it will have audits. And what's the audit status right now?
So the audits will be done before it's launched on mainnet.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, it's literally, a copy paste of the code. So
Okay.
there's, that code's been tested, right? But for the community, the devs and them, they wanted to do an audit before they launched. So
Right. And it's really the less you change, the better, honestly. I mean, the more you change, the more attack surface you introduce with these kinds of things.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the fiat token itself. Long story short, there's a token that is essentially, it allows you revenue sharing in the platform, kind of like Mintra would do for the Mintra protocol. Fiat would basically do to basically just funnel proportional to how much fiat token you hold out of 100%. You get that percentage of the platform fees, except I think it's divided. Was it 50% goes to platform fees and 50% goes to the actual lenders themselves?
I believe so. So there is a spread between the depositor APY, the deposit APY, and the borrow APY, right? I think if I look here on the website, if you were to, let's say, Hex, because it's pretty high right now, because half of the pool is being used. So if you, just for depositing your Hex, you'll make about a 25% APY, right? But the person borrowing will have to pay 58.81 APY. And that spread that's left over is paid to the stakers and the house.
Yeah.
So pretty straightforward.
So as a borrower, you have to pay a lot more, than a lender. But those APY levels right now are on par with like a multi-year hex stake, for example. 25% is like a 3-year, 4-year hex stake.
Yep. So you could, and we would like to see where you could post HSIs on this stuff as well. But
that'd be cool.
We'll
I mean, you're already offering Hedron, right? That's already in the mix.
Hedron's out there right now, yeah, on testnet.
Cool.
Some of the coins that you see on testnet will probably take a little bit longer to stabilize before they'll be introduced. But there's a time. So
cool. And then just to get to the fiat token a little bit more on that, this is what you're getting in return for the sacrifice. The supply distribution is 65% to the community, 10% in the treasury, 18% to the core team, 6% to the contributors. Are the contributors considered the developers?
No, contributors would be like one of myself, some other people in the chats. Yeah.
Okay. And then I find this interesting as well. You're giving away 1% to the Hex origin address, kind of. I'm assuming as just a goodwill, kind of like hey man, we're cool, right?
Yeah. And the tax, I guess you could say, yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see. I mean, and plus, if the OA does decide to dump only 1% of the tokens, they can't really destroy the project, But they could probably hurt it a little bit, but not much.
By all means.
Yeah. So that's a bold move. We'll see if it pays off. Both community and contributors will have their distributed tokens available from day one. And this is interesting. The core team will actually have a 1-year lockup. So you can dump your coins right away. The core team, the 18% allocated to them, has to hold it for a year. And then they only get 10% of their coins per month for the next 10 months.
Yep.
So find that interesting. The core team has apparently expressed some level of belief in their own project, obviously, which I like that. I mean, Liquid Loans did something similar, but I'm sure there's a lot more to be read about here. Let's see.
So what's interesting is when you're staking, since the coin is not inflationary, you'll be getting a basket of currencies that are being, borrowed and paid for. Their loans when they're paid off. That those extra coins, the ones that aren't given back to the lender, they're given to the stakers. So you'll have a nice little basket of coins that you can claim without unstaking your coins. So
Right.
Should be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Some guy in the chat is wondering why the website looks like trash, and I want to point out a really good point that the Hex.com website looked like trash for a while, and a lot of good things. You know, you really can't judge a book by its cover here, and in this case, you cannot judge a coin by its website. I've seen coins with beautiful websites, and it turns out, guess what? That's what they spending all their time and money on, right?
Yeah,
Like,
go look at the Rise website.
yeah, it looks beautiful.
Exactly.
So judging a project by its website is actually just from experience a terrible way to do things, and it turns out that the some of the best projects I've ever invested in have had the most bare bones websites, you could say. Even the PulseChain and PulseX website, right? They're nothing special. It's just text on a page, and if it doesn't have all the cute little animations that you like, you shouldn't be sold on a coin because there's some fade ins and fade outs and some nice rounded buttons, right? In fact, I kind of like the old, it's kind of like an old school terminal, like a black and green theme. But hey, the website should be the last thing you should be questioning. Just my 2 cents on that whole thing. Nah, plenty of scams with great websites. So it seems legit. I want to like it, and I really love the intention behind it because I would like to use this so I don't have to sell my Hex. I hate selling Hex. I like buying Hex, believe it or not. And
I hold the same position.
And this would be great for me to extract some value in stablecoin. Well, I can just let my Hex sit there, and guess what? The Hex price goes up. I become even more collateralized, and I can pull out even more US dollar coin.
Exactly.
And so you are going to use US dollar coin, but I have a question about that now. Is that going to have to be bridged USDC?
So right now on testnet, PulseX is hard programmed to keep USDC at $1, right? So that's what we're using. But as far as what stablecoin will be actually worth $1 when mainnet goes live, we don't know. So that's to be determined. Whether it's USDC or bridged in USDC, it all determined. It all depends. So.
Okay, I hope we have a stablecoin.
I hope so too.
Yeah, and so there's going to be.
Yeah, we'll definitely probably have a bridged-in stablecoin at some point, but I don't know at launch. This won't be available at launch anyways. You'll just have the coins. It'll take a couple weeks before the platform actually goes live. But
that was my next question, and you actually answered it already. And I think that's a good idea because the initial 1 month of crazy volatility for any new project could liquidate a ton of people early on.
Exactly.
Now there is that concern, like, oh, what if liquid loan, like which one wins, liquid loans or fiat.io? And it's like, well, they kind of are different. To me, fiat.io is offering more functionality, and it's a copy of Aave, whereas liquid loans is a copy of Liquidity. So they're copies of different projects, both successful, just slightly different tokenomics, slightly different structure. Fiat seems a little more simple in terms of what the coin actually does, whereas like the loan token, you have like the stability pool, and then you can stake it to earn redemption fees and that stuff. The fiat just is like, okay, borrowing and lending fees get distributed to fiat holders, stakers.
Exactly. And quick thing on that, it's funny, since the LL did some pretty heavy marketing to hexagons, everybody asks, are you guys competitors? No, they are a stable coin. We're like a bank, right? And on Ethereum, Aave and Liquidity are not looked at as competitors. They're two different things that serve two different types of niches, right? So maybe we could probably even see USDL on the platform at one point, right? Because we need a stable coin, right? So that's to be determined. But so
cool. I mean, yeah, this is fascinating stuff to me, man. Is there any point that I'm missing here that like I didn't cover yet?
No, man. I mean, it's not, it's not super complex. It's just.
Yeah, I like the simplicity. It should be elegant. Like, I think a lot of times people cover up the fact that they have like a bullshit product with over complexity, and it's very simple. Like, go check out the demo and just look at the screen, and you'll get a really good sense for what it is. Maybe I'll pull it up one more time. Let's just pull it up one more time. here. So I'm not sure if I've showed this screen yet, but I mean, you've got the total market size, obviously testnet guys, about $6 billion of total value locked. And for let's take Hex as an example, 22.8 million
Hex.
Hex. Right.
Yep.
Hex
So if
is
you
locked in
press
this pool.
USDC, you can see the dollar figures.
Ah, very cool. Okay. So there's $83 million worth of Hex locked or in here. And then 44 million of this is being borrowed. So which means the other 45. And so which means the other 38% are or million are being lended, or is that not right?
So yeah, so that's the available liquidity is 10 million hex is left, available to borrow, and then the 12 million is actually being borrowed right now.
Got it. Okay. And let's see. So right now, depositors are earning a 25% APY. And how do you differentiate between APY and APR?
I am not certain, but I can find that out for you.
All right. Yeah, APY is what I'm familiar with. Annual percent return seems like it's very similar, so I'm confused why they're different there. And then you've got like minimum loan to value ratio.
Yep.
The loan to value ratio basically represents, it says the maximum borrowing power of collateral. So for example, if there's an LTV of 75%, that means if you put in one PLS token, you can pull out 0.6 PLS for every one PLS worth of collateral. Because that's 60%, right? Liquidation threshold means if you ever go below 65% of the value of what you're borrowing, you get liquidated, right? And
above.
the liquidation above.
Yeah. So if you go above, your loan is now worth over 65% of your collateral, then you'll be posted up for liquidation. But currently on testnet, liquidations are not programmed in, so you can leverage out the yin yang and not get liquidated currently. But anyways.
Yeah, and then the liquidation penalty is basically how much of a reward that some liquidators earn for actually covering the people that defaulted, right? So they'll cover the people that defaulted, but in return, they can buy the collateral at a 10% discount, basically. Is that right?
Pretty much, yep.
I mean, this is basically simple lending and borrowing. If you're familiar with liquid loans, you're familiar with these basic concepts. If you're familiar with loans in general, you should be familiar with like liquidation thresholds and LTVs and stuff. But there's nice little tooltips that explain it. So the staking tab, I'm assuming that's for staking fiat coin.
Yes, and that's not live yet.
Right. And so if you do want to borrow, you see how much it costs you 68% annually to borrow Hex, which is absurd to me.
Yes.
And most of them have different percentages, like 2%, 1%. It also has a very high percentage to borrow US dollar coin. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's currently I think $140 million being borrowed USDC wise. So yeah.
Okay. And then the more that goes into those pools, the lower those rates become, right?
Precisely. Yeah. So I think like 90% of or 96 or 97% of the pool is being borrowed right now. So it's really high right now. It's usually hovers around 1% or something like that. So
right. And then that means those APYs are typically a lot lower, but yeah.
Exactly.
Because there's not much left to cover. All right. And then, so I mean, it's very simple, you guys. You got depositing, borrowing, and then you could treat that as a short, right? If you borrow and take out a big Hex loan, dump all the Hex down. Well, because we know how volatile Hex is, it can easily shoot back up and liquidate you. Exactly. And so if anybody sees somebody taking out an absurdly high Hex loan, a whale, for example, they could easily get that liquidation. And that's why Richard Hart basically said, hey, we need leverage trading. Or something like this, is because we can basically force shorters to get wrecked. I mean, the whales and Hex are smart, and they could keep an eye on some of these big loans being taken out. And if they see a big Hex loan taken out and this guy dumps it for USDC, thinking he's smart, going to play a short on Hex, meaning like the guy you see on screen could wreck them, and that'd be awesome. That'd be a lot of fun, right?
Exactly.
And we could all get together in a little group and decide which shorters we're going to wreck and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
well, I'm saying do not ever take any shorts, guys. Shorting is death, but people are going to do it. And it would be really fun to see someone try to hate on Hex and to short it and to get destroyed. Don't play around with that, guys. Don't play around with doing any shorts, please.
And something that could be attractive for people off, just when it goes live, the APY that you could get on your Pulse perhaps would have a better return than being a validator. I anticipate that the payout for validators in the beginning, at least, won't be as, very high, but, this could be a solution to people that want a nice little APY you could deposit and just let it ride, right? So, hey, that might be a use case for some people.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I got my eye on this one. And again, just to recap, Pulse Doge, nice little paycheck.
Right?
If you guys weren't here at the beginning, nice little paycheck, and maybe a nice little project coming up. I don't know. We shouldn't treat these as lottery tickets, but we should really do our own research and look into these. And I clearly have much more research to do. I had Dylan on here to basically pick his brain about a project that I had only read about a week ago, and I scoured the whole website, read everything I could about it. I think I understand it, right? But if you guys want to understand fiat, go try to understand Aave on Ethereum, and go learn. Go back, get in learning mode again. It's good to have an open mind, just in case some of these things work out, and in case some of these things work out really, really well. You wouldn't want to miss them. So, but again, full transparency, I have not sacrificed for this yet. And it is a capped sacrifice, so they're not going to take any more than 4 million?
Yep, 4 million is a hard cap. We raised our initial goal a little too quick, so we kind of left it open a little bit longer.
A little meat on the bone. And what did you do about the whales? Did you only allow certain limits?
So there's only a certain amount of equity that is available to be sold. So if a big whale wants to come in and sack a large amount, they just dilute themselves. They just make it more expensive for themselves, essentially. So after a certain pool. So.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of math done with their sacrifice that I find interesting. And it all is done to basically protect the smaller investor and to protect the Hex price.
Yep.
So we're coasting on a promise here that they're not going to sell the Hex price down. You make your own decision. You're an adult. I'm not a financial advisor, but get in or not, right? But I'm going to be playing around with this definitely when it goes live on the chain.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're trying to do something a little different here. Make it, because value probably matters, or valuation probably matters, right? So keep the low valuation, I guess.
Yeah. So what am I missing? What else is going on? What are you drinking there?
I got a Mountain Dew for all the people that know me, right? I got a mini fridge here, and it gets the Mountain Dew at a perfect temperature to where you open it up and it freezes it a little bit. And it's just perfect.
Like a slushy, like a little, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just a little slushy, right? Great.
Something to take the edge off.
So
what you been up to lately, man? Just living life?
Hey, working.
Fiat.
Yeah, fiat. We're actually trying to figure out what to do for Vegas, right? We might have a little party going on, maybe, perhaps. Maybe have
PulseCon?
PulseCon, yeah. Maybe be
I'll
out
be
there.
there.
You gonna be out to Vegas?
Yeah, they want me to speak. I'm a little nervous, but
Okay.
Maybe I'll hit up that party first, and I'll loosen up the vocal cords.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. So we just started talking to those guys and seeing what's going on and stuff. But
yeah, that should be a good one. It's T Money and his crew, freedom.info guys, or freedom.tv.
I met T Money down in Miami. Great guy, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he knows his way around Vegas, so should be good. That's in September, though. We got plenty of time.
Yeah, but hey, might as well tackle it early, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. I just got back from the Bahamas. Actually, I was at a Solana conference. I was
Hey,
trying
you're
to.
telling me about that. Yeah, how'd that
Yeah,
go?
it was good, man. A lot of fun. I guess
Right
technically it
on.
was more of an FTX, but FTX is basically owns Solana, right? Like they go hand in hand with each other. And I didn't get to meet Sam. I got to meet some other interesting people, like the DSX guy. I don't know, the stablecoin guy from Solana stablecoin, the founder or whatever. And just
Nice.
kind of, stealth shilling Hex over there, not trying to push it too hard, but when people ask me what I do, I tell them, yeah, I'm in the top performing asset of 2020. It's a
Oh, what is
DeFi
that?
protocol. Yeah, it's actually the world's first blockchain CD. Uh, and they're like, tell me more. And people love it, man. People love it.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Now,
you
what
know,
happens when you tell them that it was Hex? Do
well,
they?
a lot of times they'll say, I haven't heard of it actually, or they'll
Oh,
say, oh, I've
really?
heard of it, but I don't know
Interesting.
much about it. And a lot of people have heard of Richard Hart, but not necessarily Hex.
That's
Which,
very interesting.
or maybe they're all just doing a really good job of pretending that they don't know
True.
about it, which is fine, right? But then I talk about PulseChain as another foray. It's like, hey, new layer one blockchain. You guys understand that, obviously, and where
Yeah,
Hex happens to be the premier store of value application built on top of it, right? Because
exactly.
CDs are a $7.2 trillion market. I mean, how much more product market fit do you need, right? Plus, with 100% uptime, never having been hacked, that's incredibly powerful messaging. Not to mention $10 billion of TBL, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
and stakers staked for an average of 6 years. People are always like very impressed. Like, really? they're really staking that long? And it's like, yeah, they are. People believe in the system because it's immutable. It's got no admin keys. It's not going anywhere. But
Yeah.
by the way, we have a clone of Ethereum. So if you're looking into launching a new project, this is going to be cheap and fast Ethereum, basically. But hey, that's it, man. A lot of people want to reinvent the wheel with a lot of these layer ones, I think.
Yeah.
And I do believe in a multi-chain future. Like, it's not going to be one winner, but I would like to see PulseChain up there with, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, and like the top 3 or 4 that everybody uses, because we're going to have this interoperable network of layer ones. That's always been my take.
Yeah. I agree. Because we already
Coffee
have.
goes
Go
Solana
ahead.
conference network goes down for days. Yeah, that was
That is
also the
true.
big joke there. They were kind of making fun of themselves there. They were like, "Yeah, we know it's down all the time."
Sucks.
It's like, but I mean, hey, they were just like, "Yeah, that's what new technology and stuff." It's like, okay.
It's a little worrying though. I mean,
Yeah, I'm like,
you know,
so why would I want to launch $1 billion project on there?
precisely.
But yeah, I mean, FTX basically owns the whole thing, and they put on some pretty good parties and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shit, I wanted to say something, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Fiat,
Yeah.
sacrifice, meme coins, Pulse 33, P token.
Hey, you brought that one up to me, an hour ago. I have no idea about that one.
I don't know much about it either. It's just hilarious to me, and
Yeah.
I highly doubt it's gonna ever pump that hard, especially with $20,000 worth of liquidity. But we'll find out. Time will tell.
That's very true. Have you ever? How much more time do you have?
I just sit around all day, man.
Oh, okay. Well, I was wondering if you've ever thought about how to value a wrapped stake or a maxi coin or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. For the first time ever, we're seeing Maxi trading at a premium to the Hex price, and so it's obviously taking into consideration the minted Hedron, because it got the 4x Hedron bonus, and it just minted that yesterday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And on top of that, it's accruing interest every day, right? So the way to value it would just be the underlying. Yeah, actually, it's hard, right? Because you could do T-shares. You could do T-shares, or you could do the amount of Hex that's already currently accrued. I would just say the amount of Hex that's currently accrued times the price.
I agree with you, kind of. I would say the T-share entry price versus the amount of hex that's been accrued, in between there would probably be how you would value this thing. Like for instance, so if you track the way I came to this conclusion was if you take and you stake, say, the amount of hex it takes to make a t-share, so a third of the current t-share rate, whatever that is, right? And then you track that over a 6-month time period, and it was the max, obviously it's 3 times less, so that means it's a max term stake or whatever, right? So you get the max APY, and you follow the tick up of the t-share rate, your APY should start to slowly outpace it, and there should be a spread between your PNI, your principal and interest, and then the cost to start another stake, and it should be somewhere in the middle, right? I think that's where the value be, personally.
Are you referring to like the gas?
But there is also,
or no, you're just referring to the foregone T-shares, like that they can't buy, like they can't buy that many T-shares anymore.
No, I'm saying like, okay, so let me pull out a calculator here real quick. What's the current T-share rate? It's like
22,000 maybe. One sec, let me go check.
Yeah, I think it's like 21,700 or 22,000. I think you're right. Maybe it's 21 or 22,000 300 or something. I went in. Oh. Let's see here. T-share rate 21,700. Nice round number.
Okay. Oh yeah. There we go.
21,700. So 21,700 divided by 3. So to get one T-share, it would be 7,233 hex for max stake length, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, since we don't know what the APY will be, we could say look at the previous historical APY. Back to the
and you'd have to see like the average of the APY if you want to make that trend, because it used to be 40, now it's 38.
Yeah, so let's take a look at, say, the T-share rate back in, let's say, December 1st of 2020. So the T-share rate at the time was 16,252.
So you're getting a T-share for a third off, or for 33%, or for, but yeah, basically 33% off a T-share. So that number of hex times the APY times number of days.
Yeah, so if you compare the APY over a certain time period versus the T-share rate increase, so the entry price of a new stake, 5,417. So 16252. Okay, so December 1st, 2020, the entry price of a T-share was 16,252 hex, right? And so we're going to do a max length stake of 5,417. That would give us one T-share at the time, right? And then if we take and do, 6 months later, back in May, the T-share rate would be 17,000. Let's do May 1st, right? 17,593. 17,593, right? So what would the entry cost for T-share rate be? 17,593 divided by 3 would be 5,864 hex. So your principal increased, or I'm sorry, your buy-in rate for the T-share is just over 400 hex more expensive for one T-share, right? Even though the share rate went up a little over 1,200. And so a 6-month time period, that's 180 days. So 180 days times, let's say 5.9 hex per T-share, right? That would be 1,091 hex. Okay, so there's a little bit of a spread there, right? You see what I'm getting at? So theoretically, you could sell it at a discount, but also sell it at a premium relative to the T-share entry price. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah. So yeah, even the discount's a good deal because, yeah, you're buying into an earlier stake. That the basic premise makes sense to me, but I've got about 2 brain cells left in my head right now from after this weekend, so I'm not quite following on all the math.
Okay.
Yeah, Maxi was hugely successful, and you know, it could be a good way to scale in as a strategy to scale into Maxi, and even if it's at a premium, it might, you know, not still be a bad deal to purchase.
Yeah. I think it will at some point be traded at a discount. I think what you're seeing right now is just the market
Hype.
being volatile. So
yeah,
but
yeah. My prediction was that it would be at a discount for a while, just because we're in a bear market and stuff. But I was already proven wrong, so I guess you know, we'll never know until it happens.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, it's been great having you on. We're at an hour mark, so I think we should wrap it up. But fiat.io, everybody check out the website and go claim your free money. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe as well. And I'll see you on the next video.